Here's my vlog for Friday the 17th. I missed my video from yesterday because I was working until 6 in the morning, until I pretty much passed out. Then I got up at noon, so I had like 6 hours of sleep, 6 hours of downtime. I started working again. I'm feeling, overwhelmed. When I feel overwhelmed, I start to... Well, over the last couple of days, I was drinking a little bit, but that doesn't last for long. Just at the very beginning, when I first start something totally new, I'll drink a couple times, but then after I settle in and I start to get overwhelmed, that's when I just falter doing videos and just work. Because it kind of mushrooms into lots of different things I'm working on at the same time, and I kind of have to keep track. Because the thing that I was doing before this was Envato, trying to collect all my Envato collections for whenever I start doing videos. I want to have everything ready. Download on my computer. I was downloading stuff to my computer that I made from collections on Envato until my external hard drive, 4 terabyte external hard drive, filled completely. So whenever I have the time, that's another project that I'm not going to do today, but hopefully this week. I get to go on the other hard drives, and I guess I only have one file backed up in a maximum of 2 hard drives. So if I find something backed up on 3 hard drives, I can delete it. So I have some extraneous files and stuff. I think like 380 gigabytes that I can delete. So that'll provide extra space, and then I could eventually kind of make that 4 terabyte hard drive just specifically dedicated to my website. And then like next month or something, whenever I get caught up backing things up, and I need to do it sooner rather than later, because of Murphy's Law, invest $110 on a 5 terabyte hard drive, which I want to do, like 5 terabytes, my God, $100, woo, $110, it's like totally worth it. Problem is I'm like $12,000 in debt, credit card debt, but yeah. It's totally worth it. So yeah, I've abandoned everything else. Yesterday, I think I took away all of the green screens. I was setting up green screens. I'm gonna try to fix that. Not doing that anymore. I'm not even picking up my room anymore. That's a sign of work, because stuff got out of control. Because I wanted to do videos of tribes in France. And so, I had already done where the tribes were with solid and outlines, and then I did all the cities. But then, recently I did all the different levels of the cities, because a lot of them have 2 to 3 different levels. As they grow, you can see the walls. And then I was doing, videos of the tribe, zoom in, zoom out, panorama videos, and then I was doing all of that with the cities. And then I even started doing it a few times, 3 times, with intra-cities. One town from the city to the other with a road, going on the bike route, and then doing another lip, more generalized, so it doesn't shift around when you make the video. Generalized straight line at 1,000 meters to show, depending on how far it is. If it's 20K, I go up 381 meters, the height of the upper observation deck of the Empire State Building, 1,250 feet. But yeah, if it was 126K, like this other one, I did it 1,000 meters, and then I would just do the lines more generalized, so it's a different one, not as detailed on the road, so I can do it high without it jerking. And then when I screen capture it, I'll hit fast a couple times, so it goes fast. So yeah, and then I'll even do it with the outlines, I think, of the city. I might, because I already have it all built. But anyway, so then I was well, let's do Julius Caesar, because I wanted to make sure that it was good enough for Julius Caesar, just like listen to the Julius Caesar book, Gallic Wars, which is 389 pages, and make everything that he mentions Google Earth on it. So then I can then incorporate it into my Gallic Wars book on my website. It'd be amazing. So literally at the very beginning of the book, he's like, yeah, so Gauls divided into Aquitani Gauls and Celts and Belgians. I had to divide up a tribe, which straddled it. So I had to move it up to the one of the rivers that divided Aquitania, and then the other one up the other way, which took a while because I had to do it on solid and lead. And then I think I had to adjust a couple of ones from the river. I had to make a few rivers that didn't exist because he mentioned a river, the one that comes off the Seine, like the Roanne or something. And then I decided to go ahead and put in the Parisi tribe, which I was debating about before. So I did that, and so then I had to make space for the other ones. I made another tribe, and then I made another tribe, new tribes, just because they were mentioned by Caesar. You know, like if I ever come across something, researching something, and then I see a mention of something else that I don't have incorporated, I have to incorporate that. I just have to incorporate everything I see because you don't know when next time you're out, you're going to come across it. You know, it's kind of like sifting around in somebody's attic, you know, picking things up, and you know, whenever you find something, just use it then, incorporate it right then. So stuff can mushroom. You know, you can start trying to research the territory of one tribe, and then all of a sudden it's 5 tribes at once you're trying to do. So then you're adding. So and then I realized that there's lots of tribes that exist, but in multiple locations. So I want to like superimpose tribes too. I guess that was a practice that the Romans did. When they would defeat somebody, they'd move them across the country so they couldn't rebel in their homeland. And like the Celts were doing that too. Like they're like the Boy tribe are all over the place. And the Parisi, they have a faction in England and in France. So, you know, and like the Greeks have colonies, like Marseille is a Greek colony, and all kinds of crazy stuff. So yeah, and then the second thing he said was, so yeah, the Helvetii wanted to invade Spain. I mean France, and he goes, the Helvetii had 12 towns and 400 villages. So then I was going to try to trace 12 cities, 12 towns, and 400 villages, and so I researched into Rome and saw how big I was going to try to make them, but then I decided to just, you know, you can see I'm saying, you just trace them, and then you make the biggest 12 the cities and the towns, and the smaller 400 the villages, and so that's a lot. I didn't get done with that, you know, because the first thing I had to do was choose which ones to make the 400 so that I could space it out and choose the best ones. And then I had to perfect it, move it around and make it look even. And then after that, I had to go in and trace it. And so I made them and I spaced them, but then I traced like 100, but not all of them. So then I kind of burned out. And then I built the wall that he said was 11 and a half miles. He said 19 miles from the river coming out of Lake Geneva all the way to the top of the Lupo Mountain north of it, which is they made 16-foot high wall. So I made a 5-meter high wall. And then he said there was a trench. I started the trench, but I didn't finish it. And then I started, like, he started mentioning other tribes, and I looked at a couple of like Ligurian tribes in southwestern France, and I went on this rabbit hole last night because one was leading to another. They mentioned one, they're like, yeah, they're south of these, north of these, and I'm like, okay, are those registered? No, none of them are registered in my France. I never finished France. So I just spent all this time strategically placing all these little tribes all over the place, like a dozen or 2 dozen or something. And then I looked at Italy and saw that, you know, I never finished doing Italy. I just did Liguria, and I don't know if it was because this is like years ago, like 5 years ago, and I was doing this. I don't know if it was because Wikipedia wasn't developed enough or because I just burnt out, but now I see there's a list of Ligurian tribes, and so I'm like, all right, well, let's do on Wikipedia, and it's like long. And I'll probably do the same thing like Celtic tribes of Spain or France just to make sure I have everything. But so, and then like I just did this one's the Apawani, and you know, these are tribes that existed at different times. So I'm doing like not just tribes, but tribes at different times. And the Apawani, you know, like they described what their borders were, and then all the different towns, all these towns in there, and then where the battles. They mentioned like 4 battles that weren't even registered in my battle, but I guess they were mentioned by Livy a bunch of times. And then a couple of towns where they moved them to in southern Italy on the Samnites, and like the first time 40,000 people, and then 7,000 people, and then I researched where that goes. And so now I'm just trying to put all of the finish listing all of the Ligurian tribes in Italy, you know, in France, and just get all the tribes that are mentioned on Google Earth. I mean, on Wikipedia, on Google Earth, and then you know, maybe a Celtic tribe, and then after that, then I would go and finally finish the 400, tracing out the walls of the 400 villages into 12 towns of Helvetii and Switzerland, and and then I have to like I think I'm gonna do it like I won't do it by size because it'll take too long. I'll just do it by alphabetically, and then number them, which will take long enough in itself. And then, you know, I finally get to start on the very beginning of Julius's book again, where he mentioned that he with like 3 regions hiked from Orvieto to someplace in southwest eastern France in 7 days. So then I write his trail and find out what road he went on and where his campsites were, and I think that town he's talking about was Spain, but I'll have to make sure. And then I can finally, you know, continue on with the book, which will then open up more rabbit holes. So I have got my work cut out for me. But when I incorporate all this stuff together, you know, like the Google Earth and my website with the book and everything, you know, it's gonna be the only place like this that in the world where you're gonna be able to find it. And you know, I guess it's like a little bit risky building something that people should have built a long time ago. It's like, what the fuck? We draw this stuff out, and then we have the technology with Google Earth, and then we don't even utilize it to build this history. It seems like that'd be the first thing you do, and so, you know, like I hope like some like big corporation or something with all the workers in the world doesn't all of a sudden decide they're going to do what I'm doing, like Google, and then like rob all the research that I did and then just build it onto the Google Earth, which they should have a long time ago, which will then put me obsolete. Because that's happened a bunch of times. Like the only reason on my website that I created a gridded calendar was because it didn't exist, but now it exists. And then a few years ago, 5 years ago, I drew on Google Earth all the different ski routes of all the ski resorts in Colorado, but I had to do it off of like ski maps, images of scanned ski maps, because it didn't exist, and all of a sudden now it exists on Google Earth. So I'm like 1 year ahead. I'm like one step ahead before I can like bring it together and do good videos like they build it. So, I mean, if things go like this, I'll spend like 5 years Google Earthing all of the tribes and cities of the ancient world, and then like right before I do the video, oh look, Google just did it. They'll like cut me off at the pass like over and over again. Maybe that'll be the story of my life. Like I won't do anything original because like right before I'm about to finish anything, like some big company suddenly or some university suddenly like, oh, look at what we have 1 month before you were. So anyway, that's kind of the perils of doing like all these things at the same time. But because like I don't like doing this stuff. The only reason I'm doing it is because I need to if I'm going to incorporate it into my my show. You know, I want to do a TV show where I'm acting stuff out, but I have to do the zoom in and zoom outs of all the different locations and all that. And so if it doesn't exist, I have to build it, right? But then if it exists right after I'm ready building it, it's like, oh my God, like what kind of horrible timing do I have? So anyway, but I'm like memorizing in my head lots of stuff. So anyway, enough venting. Yeah, so, but I think, yeah, YouTube may be a little bit more developed. Maybe I have good timing in the end because, like, I don't think that, and I'm not so sure that stuff was there before. Otherwise, maybe I would have built it. But, you know, I do kind of burn out and back out of things. But it's hard to remember. Plus I was high off my ass, and then it was 5 years ago. So anyways, those are all the different things I'm going to try to do. I don't know what kind of time. I mean, that's going to take forever. Hopefully, if I can stay focused on this by the end of the year, I can get, you know, get it to a new level. I need to make sure that I back it up because I've lost lots of stuff that I built. I just tried to upload it to my website with Dreamweaver, and there's like an FTP firewall block all of a sudden on my computer. So, but that's my secondary computer. I should drag it to my primary computer like today, and have my primary computer, my 2017 computer, upload it. Hopefully that doesn't, because that was uploading fine last time I checked. But this one was too. But yeah, I just drug it to my external hard drive. So, but I need to drag it to other external hard drives at least once a week. Make sure it's dragged all over the place. But yeah, at least it's in 2 spots. But yeah, once I get to like a stopping point, I'll make sure it gets uploaded to my website. So that's what I'm up to now. Just doing all the Ligurian towns I saw. Ligurians, I guess they're like a long time ago immigrants from the Indo-Europeans, and so then they mentioned this book called. I guess it was published in 2007, and it's about Indo-European migration based on linguistics. And so I bought it with my credit because I got a new Audible credit yesterday, even though I was going to buy other books. So now I'm making a whole list of books that I want to get on Audible. I mean, I'm like tempted to just buy credits, but I have enough books I need to catch up on, so I'm motivated to catch up on stuff. But when I do this work, I can't listen to a book when I'm doing all this work. I can only listen to a book when I'm doing the super tedious stuff, like tracing the towns in Switzerland, because you have to just keep reading and comparing, and there's no way in hell you're going to be paying attention to what you're listening to, creating, reading stuff where stuff is and then making it on Google Earth. So, but that's where doing the tedious stuff actually comes in handy. So I'm glad I'm getting fired up about lighting up books. Like I got Nature Personal Reality by Seth last month, and I read it, and then I even had the hard copy of it, and that was interesting. And then I want to get Seth Speaks. I read that book a couple of times, but that'd be cool to have it on Audible. And then there's this other book called The Magical Way or something by Seth, and I don't think I even read that, but I think I may even have a copy of it. So I'm gonna get that too. So there's 2 more books I want to get, and then I want to get a book about haplogroups, because it's fascinating to read how haplogroup, which tells you where the migration of people are, how that lines up with the linguistics-based ones. So try to get that next week too. So I think that will be the next one that I get. So, but anyways, there's a bunch of books I need to catch up on. So probably take me the whole month to catch up on those. So anyway, I had my work cut out for me yesterday. I went to my mom's house for a couple hours to help her paint the in between the boards on her deck, and I wasn't so sure she wasn't even gonna do that. But yeah, I had to like assemble this wood rack and then paint in between her boards. And I guess today I'm gonna go over there and help her put stuff back on the deck, like all of the stuff, like assemble it again. So it'll take a couple of hours. So, but she bought me a Burger King Big Mac and French fries and a drink, so that was cool. Not really spending that much money on food at all, which is good. Yeah, it's good to not spend any money. I've been in a roll, although I was spending some money on alcohol, but I'm not going to do that anymore. That was just for a few days because I was like overwhelmed. So anyways, that's my vlog for today. Talk to you tomorrow. I'm going to go over to my mom's house, today to do that other stuff. Talk to you tomorrow.